right.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. I am wanting to show my little secret addiction that I've been doing since I think 2020, December of 2023. So I didn't get into AI until then because, of course, I was doing my dissertation and for validity's sake. And what I like doing is I like going out into the world and finding all the AI apps that I can, right? And this isn't even part of my job. This is just something I've been doing because it's fun. So I first go out, find these different apps that are most likely not geared towards education, but find them out in the world and then figure out how we can use them in education. Because, sometimes they're made for marketing, but then might have the same purpose. So I've got this, extensive database just because I don't know why, just because that's what I do. But I have found this way that I enjoy going through, figuring out which ones are worth using or not. There are a lot for education, but we can find those ones and we can see our peers sharing those around. But then there's ones that, we would never even find because it's not in our career field. Or maybe it's for science, but we can use it also for math or whatever. So I'm having a great time doing that. And I'm excited to share like this passion with you guys. So I'm going to share my presentation. If I can, it's not wanting to share the screen window. All right. So that's the first screen here, of course. And this is the agenda. I have first an activity and then going over the overview of the steps and some examples and do some reflection sharing of what you guys have found out there in the world and then why the frame model benefits us as educators. And so the first activity, I would like for you guys to write in the chat what words, tools, or feelings come to mind when you think of AI in education. And the second question was one tool or idea that you've tried or curious about and what did it for you? What sparked you in using that tool or not? So if you guys could share that in the chat real quick. Apparently, you guys can't see both the question. Can you guys see the question and the chat at the same time?
If you select the chat, it'll pop open on the side.
Oh, well, I have it open. I just didn't know if you guys could see it also. Have some feelings of anxiety, uncertain, excitement, wanting to have a tool that helps to learn. Notebook LM is the best tool, according to Larry. You want to share why you have that perspective, Larry? First reactions to AI, concern, curiosity, questions from me about AI, best practices for practitioners doing professional accounting work, best practices for students doing academic accounting work, and ideas for ME or me? Creating videos for students with AI. For me, of
Even though
course.
ME was the thing.
I didn't know if it was an abbreviation or it was just happy to be me today. So while concerns about how AI adoption is happening under the same, wow, that's a big word for me there, Steve. Is that Aegis? That
Aegis, yep.
Is that a food? Isn't that Scottish or something? No, that's
No, that's haggis. That's haggis.
haggis.
No, it just means that the kind of the same school of thought. So I'm worried that we're adopting and bringing AI into education, into teaching and students, student use under kind of the same sort of basic ideas, basic principles, basic rubric, if you want to think of it, as we adopted Google search, right? And Google search came with its own like, oh, we got to be worried about, how students are using it. But nobody thinks about that anymore. I mean, I don't want to say nobody, Jen. I know you'll be upset with me if I say nobody, but nobody gets their undies in a bundle about students using Google anymore. I mean, yeah, we complain about it every once in a while, but and I'm just worried that people are seeing, oh, AI is just like the next Google, as opposed to seeing that there's some fundamental differences there. So it makes me nervous.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as you mentioned, we've adopted it. And as we've adopted it, it just turned into the norm without looking at any, good morning, Darlene, without
Morning.
looking at any, what the progressions are going to be. But, we adopted Google before the AI tools turned into being available. Good morning, Cassie. So we are answering the questions, what words, tools, or feelings come to mind when you think of AI in education? And the second one, what's one AI tool or idea you've tried or are curious about, and what sparked that for you? And you can put it in the chat if you'd like, but we're going to move forward and talk about this frame model that I've created for myself. As it started as a hobby for me, but then as I was searching for AI tools and different career paths and trying to match them to move them for educational purposes, it just became too big for me to just do on my own. And how am I going to organize this huge database that I'm creating for myself that isn't even part of my job, but it's just fun to do? And then I said, wow, this is really awesome. How many tools are out there? At first, when I started getting into AI tools, there was minimal tools in my mind. But then once I started researching, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's a large world out there, and it's getting bigger. So of course I find the tools, which I'm going to show you a secret of where I get most of my tools from, and then how I review them, and then adapt, match, and evaluate. So I'm going to turn my camera off now that more people are coming in. And the finding, I have a document that I'm going to share here in a second that I use for myself, that you guys can just take and keep notes or whatever. But the finding, I definitely find different tools in all sorts of different places, and a lot of them are, I mostly find a lot on LinkedIn where people are sharing them out, and then I find them on social media, and then I also have this website, it's called There's a AI for That, but I'll share that link in the chat also later. And then with review, hold on one second, I'm going to open up my document here. Can you guys see this document that I have? I'm sharing on my screen.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to share this with you guys, but it's, I wouldn't say it's like a formal thing. It's just, I made it for myself, so I can remember, these tricks that I've come up with.
And when you say the document, oh, okay, got it. The document
Yeah.
and the link, got it.
Yep. So I use this where I find it. So I identify tools, of course, and then I review, and I review by categorizing. So this is kind of how I categorize it. And of course, you guys can categorize things yourself, but I like to put like what the function is to the left and what the purpose is, an example of a task. And then I also like to put on there like what it was originally created for. So Canva Magic Write was created for marketing, Gradescope for STEM professors and teachers assistants. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but I'm just going to call it Zapier. Business operations productivity. Of course, we are familiar with ChatGPT, Grammarly, but then there's the Notion AI, which is for organizations, and all of these tasks. So if we go back to what these tasks are, we use all of these tasks in education. So even though these were made for, you know, business operations and project managers, we use these tasks. So finding these, I think they're gems. And then how to adapt it and how to like introduce it to your students, and can this be something? And I mostly document like free ones, or maybe it's free for 30 days or something like that. If it's not free, then I usually don't even look at it because there's so many out there. And as Jen was talking earlier, we were saying how there might be 30 different apps for one tool or one activity, and you know, finding the one that fits your classroom best. And then I want to focus more on the evaluation. So say, you know, you want to put it into your classroom, but you have to evaluate the effectiveness and how efficient is it? Is it filling a gap, or are you just using a tool to place in the classroom just so you could say you have AI in the class? I'm not saying people do that. I'm just saying, you know, double check that. And then is it equitable? Meaning, you know, is it available for free? Is it, you know, going to cost? Making sure that you do take a look at equity and then the evidence. So that would be assessing your use of it after you've already completed using it, you know, one semester or 1 week. But I shared that in the chat for you guys. And I closed my presentation, which is amazing. Love when I do that. But I do have a link to it right here in this document. So with those different steps, I know I just ran through them really quickly, but was there any of them that you felt would be comfortable, or which ones you would want to practice more? And I'm going to put that back up on the screen so you can see the steps. And at first, when I started, you know, this process, I felt really comfortable with finding them. And if you could write, if you have a response, if you could put it in the chat. The review seems to be the most complex one for me, because I'm looking at all these different details of where it fits. I love documenting which career path they're for. And then someday I'm going to have these all memorized so I can, when I see Steve, I can be like, hey, Steve, I found something that could work for you, you know, and I'm going to have this amazing database. And then everybody's going to say, well, I don't really care about your database, because I'm going to go and I'm going to find one for myself, because the ones I found might not actually fit for you. But then there's the analyzing and making sure that it is safe for students, and that it's not taking everyone's data and sharing it within the world. And then matching it from, you know, what it originally was created for, and matching it to your classroom, and then evaluating. I think evaluating might cause me more anxiety because I don't actually have a class, but you guys do. So you guys could use these tools with your students and get back to me and tell me, hey, this worked, this didn't. And then I'll even add more to my database, which would be great. Any of those steps you guys feel you would be more comfortable with or less comfortable? You can speak up too if you don't want to put it in the chat.
I'll just say that for me, the issue has been time to do those things. Not so much which one would be difficult. I like this framework. This is great. And every single conference I've been to this year, it's all AI, AI, AI. I feel like we should be singing EIEIO, AI,
Yeah.
AIO.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of one of the breakout sessions when I was in Indianapolis. I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find this slide from a PowerPoint, but it was kind of almost like a Wordle kind of thing, and it was like all these different AI apps, and it just blew my mind because like, well, I was kind of sort of familiar with maybe half a dozen, and then yeah, no, there's like so many.
It
And
is.
it's overwhelming. It's like, where do you even start? You know, it's just so much. So I'm glad you're doing this.
Yes, it was overwhelming for me, and that's why I'm doing it more so as a hobby, because it would take more than 40 hours a week for me to even do this kind of fun. But so here's some examples. So find discovering things on AI blogs. So like I said, I enjoy, scoping out on LinkedIn, AI blogs, just doing a Google search, just finding these things, reviewing. So maybe going in and finding what's a gap in a classroom. So I do still have the Welcome to Canvas course. And it's kind of, looking at what I'm observing that students would need, which is grammar or tone, feedback, and trying to find, what tool would be the best for me to use if I need to change my tone because of a specific student. Then adapting, making sure that, that I can find a tool for students to develop revision skills. For the English department, they're constantly looking for things to help the students and show them how AI can be used instead of how it has been used, but still giving those students access or allowing them to use them in the classroom somehow, instead of saying don't use them at all. And then, of course, matching, making sure that it matches what you need and in your course. And then evaluating would be doing rubric checks or student reflections. And maybe in the end of the class where they've got their surveys, have they mentioned the AI tools that you've provided for them to experience, and seeing what they said about it, or, assessing the assignment that you might use an AI tool with, and then, evaluating that for yourself. And I do have another, and we don't have to put it in the chat. You can just say it out loud, but can you respond, like, how can an AI tool be used to enrich learning? What AI tool can you try to apply to the framework, if you have any tools that you usually use, or ones that you prefer not to use even? And if you were to browse for AI tools for any task, which task in your course, just pick any of these. Do you have a specific gap in your classroom that you would like to fill, that you think maybe an AI tool could provide for you?
Can I just say, actually, tying back to the previous question about kind of finding and accessing and doing all those things on the checklist is really hard. Some of us are really good at others. Like, I have colleagues that are really good, like they sniff out cool new stuff, but they don't always take that and then evaluate and kind of run it through its paces. They're just really good at finding and being connected. They're like the connectors, as opposed to the networkers, who are the people that they tie things together and they go, hey, share this with other people. And so I think the idea of putting something like this together and making it more kind of widely available, so that folks could maybe nominate tools to get added to the list, or other people could say, I'm willing to try this, and then write a review or something like that. That could be a cool kind of like an IMDb for AI tools or something like that.
Yes, a huge collaboration of talents. I mean, we have so many talents at the college that I see my database growing larger and larger, and sharing it out. And I would love to share it out eventually. It's just really complex and not clean.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm a little shaky doing that. But I definitely see that. I definitely see it could benefit from all of us using our best talents to provide something for everyone else. Great idea. I'll talk to the professional development department.
Hey, what do you know? I gotta go. Actually, I do
I'm
have
on
to
that
go.
committee.
Thanks.
What was that, Suzanne?
On that committee.
Awesome. So, so here's the secret. Here's the secret website that I use. It's kind of like Google, where
Yeah. Yeah.
all you have to do is go to it, and of course, it wants me to log in. But here you are. So there's an AI for that. So if you were to say, simply, I need an AI that can assess math. For ninth graders. We're gonna make it quite specific and not spelled well, but it's thinking. Here you are. Quite a few apps that you can try out. Can you guys see that? Was that a yes? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. My screen's not showing like a red around the screen to show me that is which screen is showing. So you can make your own account with this, and you can save the lists for yourself, and it's pretty awesome. And as you can see, everything's spelled wrong, and it knew exactly what I was saying, and it gives you all of these to try out. And they're rated, and you could bookmark them, and you can participate socially with thumbs up, thumbs down, leave notes. And that's my secret weapon for finding. It's pretty great. So I just want to reiterate that we are talking about scholarship for teaching and learning, and a lot at Jackson College, and making sure that you reflect on what you're using and you have evidence-based processes leads you into that direction. And I'm sure everyone's doing that already, but having a frame model or having some way that you're using it and that you're showing how you're using it and what the effects are and evaluating the tools helps keep you into that same mindset that we're working towards. And once again, not just using tech for tech's sake, like I am as I'm doing my research, because it's not really doing anything for the school, but it's definitely, helping me learn more about what's out there and what's capable to be done using AI. Anyone have any comments or questions, or I'm going to move you back to this screen here.
It's a great website. I just bookmarked it. So,
Good.
and I'd heard about this one in one of the things I was in. So yeah, that's a good one.
It is definitely my favorite. And that document, I did share it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home for this. Share that in the chat also. And all the links that I've used are in this document here. And I also mentioned that I've written a lot of like LinkedIn articles on these. So those links are also in the document. And it's just been a lot of fun, kind of addicting. Anyone have any cool apps that they've found that they would like to share?
Not
Come on,
yet.
Larry. I know you have. Okay, Suzanne, what do you have?
Honestly, I've been struggling to find things. I haven't gotten very far with connecting the dots. Larry, we can't hear you. We need you.
Well, I've kind of, this AI thing has been kind of a deja vu for me. When we first, I'm reminded of when we first went, when COVID hit, and we were then presented with all the various tools that we could use in remote teaching, which I had never used before. There just seemed so many of them that it was overwhelming, and I ended up not being able to do any of them right. So my focus has been trying to find something that's going to solve specific problems I've had, or to move my classes forward. And Notebook LM has been one of those, but the chatbot themselves has also been now. Now, I think there's some value, you can respond to this and tell me what you think, to if we do introduce this to our students, that we be sure that the students understand that this is a machine. It's not a human being. It doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't know truth from falsehood. It just constructs sentences that seem, in most cases, that are actually true. So one of the things I've been working on most recently is learning how to build GPTs, or more specifically in Gemini 2.5, building a what they call a gem, which actually, taking some prompting skills and seeing if you can build an automated tool on yourself. And so that's what I've been working on. And currently I'm working on building a gem to create a interactive teaching assistant, or a tutor, if you will, that's going to present questions based upon Bloom's taxonomy of learning, so it would ladder up the actual degree of difficulty of questions that a student would be faced. So, and it's through that process I'm getting a better sense that these things aren't perfect. You can tweak them, and depending on how you tweak them, you're going to end up with a different result. So I don't know if that is an actual tool or not, but that's kind of what I've been doing lately.
Thanks for sharing, Larry. It sounds like a lot of fun. How are your students responding to it?
Well, I've actually, they're not. And I don't know if whether it's because it's summer semester, but very few of them are responding at all. I don't know whether they're afraid of AI, or afraid that they're going to be accused of cheating, or whatever it is, but I'm not getting the response I thought I might.
That's hard for the evaluate process.
Yeah, it sure is.
Anyone else using AI tools? Anyone have a gap that they want to fill in their classroom that an AI tool might help?
Do you think that part of the quietness that we're hearing right now is the fact that we don't know what AI is capable of? So we don't know whether it would fulfill a gap or not?
Well, I would love to be challenged. If any of you guys have a gap, just email me and say, this is my gap, and I'm open to trying something new, and we can work together and find something. Or, if it's not an AI tool, maybe we can fill a gap a different way.
It's not exactly an answer to your question, but in the chat I mentioned, I'm curious if there are AI tools that would help me with video creation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
I know there's a couple out there, but I haven't explored it yet.
yes, I will definitely send you some links for video.
Okay.
And I know we have, you know, the Adobe products, but that's a long process to create a video with that. And we have Canvas Studio, and that might be too minimal of what you're looking for, because that is not video creation, that's just recording.
I do a lot of Canvas Studio kind of in the moment, if that makes sense, within each class to customize and personalize each class.
Mhm.
But like my big kind of, you know, the substantial stuff that where I get the really good reviews from students, like, oh my God, if I hadn't had this video, I wouldn't have made it. Those are Camtasia, Excel type videos.
Mhm.
So I don't know, those maybe have to stay the way they are. But I've been developing kind of like a wish list of these are the videos I'd like to create. And that wish list has gotten huge. And so now it's overwhelming. It's like there's too much. Like that could just be a full-time job for a year to create all the videos I want to create. But some of them are more conversational and advising related, if that makes sense, and not necessarily about course content. And I thought, oh, maybe that'd be fun to play with an avatar and an AI thing for those that are
Mhm.
that aren't, you know, how to do a bank reconciliation or something like that.
Right.
But,
Right. Well,
how
there,
the internship process works right now, or whatever. I mean, stuff like that. That's more, how, you know, almost like FYS or SEM, like things I'd like to share with you so you have the best possible experience, not just with my class, but with college in general. And with
mhm. There are some for creating a podcast, but those are just audio only. And
yeah, that's not going to help with accounting work. They need to see it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
mean, there are some topics, yeah, where it could just be a conversation, but
Mhm. I will definitely put that on my list to see if I can
oh, you're
provide
sweet.
a
I'll keep in
list.
touch too as I'm exploring.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anyone find any video that's easy to create? I haven't found too much with AI, but I do have some video.
I have played with Google the VO2 and 3 because I've got the like pro advanced level with them. However, I haven't had a lot of success with like creating anything like educational, but it is kind of like if you need like stock video to like insert and stuff, like just like stock like video of like students studying or something like that. Um, that's kind of handy in that way, but otherwise, like, because I know that Canva can create stuff based on like your slides, but I haven't had a lot of success with it doing what I want it to do.
I've had
It-
success with the general stuff, and then there's the specific stuff that I have to screen record. But I'm in the same boat as Suzanne, where how do you match those two together quickly and easily with some video editing software instead of having to use Adobe to, you know, do a whole, you know, 3-day editing trip, which is not, I'm not a fan of any longer, even though that used to be my full-time job when I was the producer of the Educational Access Channel here at Lenawee. I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm looking forward to, you know, the next generation of AI tools where it will be able to do that.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
other
jump
than,
in.
yeah. Yeah. Well, if anyone has any questions or any comments, please reach out to me. I do enjoy playing with this, and I'm thoroughly addicted to it. So I'm always, well, I'm not always here. I just used up my vacation time, so I'll be here for a little while without taking time. But reach out. And if you guys find any cool stuff, please share it. I would love to add some more tools to my database. I like the idea that Steve had, bringing it to the committee to say, hey, I have this, if, we want to share it out, and let me clean it up a little bit more first. But, get it out there for people to, see what's there and play with it. And I think our community is really great at sharing, and continuing that is only going to benefit all of us. And, I might even want to add like, a troubleshooting or a problem, tab to that, to beware tab, like beware, this is, what we may have noticed, just to keep everyone in the loop. But anyways, thank you all.
Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah. I can't hear you, Jen. Oh. It's just not wanting to work at all. It wasn't even a microphone issue. It was just an issue.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, there it goes. I unplugged it and plugged it back in. Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Now that they all left.
Yeah, as they all left because I can't talk. So I am going to stop recording.